Imagine sealing yourself away for 18 months, fasting, praying, purifying, all to stand face to face with an angel who knows your true name. Now imagine Hollywood takes that sacred pilgrimage and twists it into a gore-soaked nightmare designed for cheap jump scares.
This is a serious undertaking. This is real stuff we're playing with. Real angels, real demons.
This is a dark song, the internet's most loved quote-unquote authentic occult movie, and the most disastrously inaccurate. Tonight, I'm tearing down this film's colossal mistakes, exposing how horror hijacks Hermeticism, and yes, rewriting the plot so it actually works. Stay with me and bring plenty of salt. Oh hey, thanks for stopping by. It's nice to see you. I'm Jason Louv, of course, author and longtime practitioner of Western esotericism. For over 25 years now, I've navigated the boundary where rigorous scholarship meets lived rituals. That means I've spent a lot of time exploring the world's sacred traditions, from Eastern Enlightenment to Western ceremonial magic. I've written a ton of books about it, including my most recent one, John Dee and the Empire of Angels, which is basically a massive history, not just of the ceremonial magician John Dee's attempts to contact angels, but of the Western magical tradition itself. So
I kind of know what I'm talking about here.
I basically have dedicated my life to learning this stuff and getting it out to the public. So when I heard about A Dark Song, which is supposed to be the best, most realistic movie about magic ever, well, I got excited. I got my hopes up. And I'm here to tell you, those hopes were dashed. Brutally. So I've been doing some lists of occult movies on this channel. Definitely go check them out if you haven't seen them. And A Dark Song has far and away been the most requested movie. Like, people are angry that I haven't put it in the other lists. It's almost as if people are feeling personally slighted that I haven't talked about this movie yet, because apparently it's so great and so realistic and accurate. Okay, so I gave in. I decided to watch A Dark Song so that I could cover it on the channel. And it sucked. Sorry. Here's why. Yes, A Dark Song is kind of accurate. Maybe it gets about 80% of the way there, but man, that last 20%, it just veers off totally into the woods, and the writer and director just starts making stuff up that has nothing to do with magic whatsoever. This isn't unique to A Dark Song, by the way. This has been a trend recently in indie horror filmmaking. Movies like The Witch, Hereditary, all these movies that have attempted to mine authentic occult traditions to try to give themselves a veneer of realism. So, in my opinion, these filmmakers haven't really got it right at all. What they've done is created a kind of uncanny valley of occult realism where these films feel just kind of realistic enough, but they're not quite there, and that's actually really dangerous because it's close enough to the real thing to fool people into having bad assumptions and then getting into magic with totally wrong ideas about it. So no, occult kids, I don't want to live deliciously, and I don't want to talk to anyone who picked up Goetia because they thought Hereditary was cool. Hermetic magic is a profound, beautiful, and sacred spiritual path. It shouldn't be fodder for whatever horror movie A24 is releasing this year. So, indie filmmakers, I love you. I know the struggle is real, but please, stay out of our house. At least read some Wikipedia articles on this stuff before you end up getting somebody hurt. So the thesis for this video is simple. A Dark Song attempts to portray the Abramelin Operation, which, yes, is a real ritual and is in fact the most beautiful, central, and profound ritual in all of magic, but fails at doing this so spectacularly that it practically amounts to spiritual vandalism. So what do I mean specifically? Well, in my opinion, this movie mangles the intent and outline of the ritual itself. injects a bunch of sleazy and unnecessary shock tactics, basically takes a dump all over one of the world's profound Enlightenment traditions by drenching it in just demonic gibberish. If that's not enough, it reinforces old satanic panic tropes, which frankly, in today's cultural climate, is really not appreciated. It doesn't do anyone any favors. And just from a filmmaking perspective, has a plot that just collapses under the most basic scrutiny. So in this video, I'm going to go into each of these ways that the film profoundly fails. I'm going to tell you what the actual Abramelin Operation is, and just for kicks, I'll show you how easily the plot of this movie would be fixed. So the chapters are in the description, but I dare you to stick around for the entire infernal pilgrimage. It should go without saying, spoilers are ahead, so don't say you weren't warned. And by the way, if no BS deep dives into occult lore sound like your kind of thing, definitely hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications button. It really helps the channel grow. And while you're at it, let me know in the comments what movies you think get Magick right. I'll go ahead and pin the best answer. First, some context. The Book of Abramelin is a renowned grimoire, internally dated to 1458, and traditionally attributed to Abraham of Worms, a Jew from Worms, Germany. The text narrates Abraham's travels to Egypt, where he encounters the mysterious mage Abramelin, who imparts to him a complex system of Kabbalistic magic. Central to the book is a lengthy ritual, lasting 6 months according to the classic Mather's translation, but extending up to 18 months in other manuscript versions. The purpose of this operation is to achieve what the text calls knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, a form of direct communion with a personal spiritual guide or higher self. The work gained prominence in the modern occult revival, particularly through its influence on the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley, and remains foundational in contemporary Western esotericism. Some scholars, such as Jorg Den, have suggested that the book was authored by Rabbi Yaakov Malin, though this is disputed. The earliest surviving manuscripts date from the early 1600s, and the work has survived in multiple languages and versions, with notable differences in the duration and details of the ritual. The ritual itself demands extreme spiritual discipline. You must live secluded in a ritually purified house, and pray constantly, all day, every day. You also have to maintain total sexual abstinence. Yes, no sex at all. Practice deep humility through fasting, confession, and charity, and even construct magical letter grids filled with divine names. All of this is undertaken as a process of what's called theosis in Greek, the purification and humbling of the human personality so that the divine can shine through. While Abramelin outlined the ritual in a Christian cultural context, versions of it exist throughout many world cultures. The long meditation of the Buddha under the banyan tree until he reached enlightenment would be one obvious parallel in Eastern mysticism. According to the sacred magic of Abramelin the Mage, only after the angel finally appears do you summon and bind the so-called 4 princes of hell, not to worship them, but to subjugate them under divine authority. In other words, the ritual isn't about indulging demons at all. It's about conquering them through holy mandate. Think of it as spiritual special forces training. Months of grueling purification, then a controlled strike to chain your inner demons. It's arduous, pious, and meant to end in divine light, not horror and cut-rate, janky special effects. This isn't some obscure footnote of magic history. Even the infamous Aleister Crowley attempted the Abramelin Operation, starting in 1899 at his Loch Ness estate, though he was only able to complete it in China in 1905. Crowley saw the ritual as the pinnacle of all serious magical and mystical practice. In fact, he went so far as to say that any magic except the Abramelin Operation, or other processes meant to support it, was black magic. The point is, serious occultists hold this ritual in reverence. It's the holy grail of Hermetic practice. not something you turn into a plot for a B-movie. So keep that blueprint handy. We'll need it once Liam Gavin, the film's writer and director, chucks the actual Abramelin Ritual out the window and starts improvising like an over-caffeinated dungeon master who's realized mid-session he forgot to prep the night's encounter. Now, if this movie gets anything right, it's that you probably shouldn't try to learn magic by finding some random guy on Craigslist. Spoiler alert, it doesn't go that well. So if you'd prefer not to end up getting trapped in a haunted house with some random guy and a bunch of demons that look like roadies for Rob Zombie or something, there's a better way. At Magick.me, my online school for magic, meditation, and mysticism, you can learn magic safely and responsibly and without any of the mess. No creepy rituals, no questionable strangers, just clear, straightforward courses designed to get you to unleash your true self using the best methods from the magical traditions of the entire planet, both Western and Eastern, both ancient and modern. You can get started right now for free. There's a link to download a free meditation in the description below. Let's break down the film's mistakes versus the real ritual, one by one. Here are the 6 major distortions in A Dark Song.
I lost my child. He was taken from me and it was my fault. I need to speak to him.
Talk to your dead child.
Okay, this right here is ridiculous from the get-go. Abramelin is a ritual about contacting your holy guardian angel. It is not necromancy. It's a theurgic rite for union with your angel. Using it to resurrect or avenge a dead child is like hiring NASA to fix your Wi-Fi. Colossally wrong tool, Sophia. This is not only wrong, it doesn't make any damn sense. It is infuriatingly, brazenly false in its basic premises. Like, did you even read the book? How about the Wikipedia, even? In other words, the film's entire premise is built on a mistake. Sophia's motivation, contacting her murdered child, has nothing to do with what the Abramelin Operation is actually for. When your starting goal is that far off base, everything that follows is sus AF. And it should be perfectly clear at this point that the filmmakers had no real interest in the sacred magic of Abramelin beyond ripping off the name and using a few ritualistic trappings for aesthetic effect.
You're basic.
This would be like having a movie about Catholicism and making the central sacrament a game of hopscotch, then acting as if you'd captured the essence of the faith. It's a profound misrepresentation, an artistic bait and switch that discards the genuine spiritual depth of the material in favor of crappy B-movie dreck. The Abramelin Ritual demands sexual purity. Full stop. Yet the film instead inserts quote-unquote ritual sex as a power play. That's exploitation, not esotericism. Remember, the actual ritual requires chastity for months on end. Inserting a coerced sex rite isn't just inaccurate. It turns a sacred act of devotion into something profane, an excuse for sleazy, predatory behavior. It's a gratuitous shock tactic that would lead to catastrophic failure in the real ritual. Now granted, the film may be making the point that Solomon is an abuser who has taken the opportunity to corner a defenseless woman in a mansion all alone. And that, again, you shouldn't do weird rituals with people you meet off Craigslist. But since it never makes a clear statement on that, all we get are the pure ick vibes to deal with after this bizarre and awkward interlude. Word squares have precise sacred functions and are critical to Abramelin's magic. The film treats them like abstract art. If you scribble Sudoku puzzles on the wall, don't act surprised when nothing happens. The word squares in the sacred magic of Abramelin the Mage aren't meaningless doodles. They're specific, sacred formulas, and magic squares are a long, long tradition in European Hermeticism. By portraying the squares as gibberish, the movie shows zero respect for the tradition. Oh yeah, and what the literal F is this? I'm sorry, but I don't remember a spa treatment being anywhere in this ritual. A ritual that is ahem from medieval Europe. What the hell is he doing here? Painting badly translated Chinese characters all over Sophia's back because... Why? Because the studio wanted more skin? Please, make it make sense. This doesn't make me think of high arcane ritual. It makes me think of Becky from Jamba Juice, getting a Chinese tattoo that's supposed to say freedom, but actually turns out to mean free of charge. And yes, that actually happened. In the actual ritual, the Abramelin demons only appear after the angel, under command. Here they barge in like drunken extras from some kind of unholy cross between Insidious and the Beverly Hillbillies. Cheap horror, zero theology. And from a filmmaking perspective, a lot more ridiculous than scary. Seriously, it would have been scarier if they'd accidentally summoned the penguins from Madagascar. Basically, the movie unleashes random spooks long before Sophia earns any spiritual authority. It's all shock with no substance. In a genuine Abramelin, the demons, in modern parlance, might be seen to be personifications of the magician's shadow, all of their negative complexes that must be overcome and mastered on the road to enlightenment. But a dark song throws that logic out the window for just easy scares. Yes, mentors can be stern. No, waterboarding your client is not part of the curriculum. Real occult teachers are not deranged drill sergeants. They don't constantly scream at their students. They don't find excuses for whacking off in the middle of rituals. And they sure as hell don't try to drown people in an incident that is purely fabricated by the filmmaker. Solomon's abuse isn't for the ritual, it's just abuse. There is literally no precedent for this incident anywhere in the magical literature, and God forbid somebody get the idea that this is what the occult is all about. Because that is the last thing we need. This trope screams of the studio needing extra drama, at the expense of believability and trust. Oh, and also, what the hell is with this African dashiki he's wearing? And here, spoiler alert, we see the payoff for the entire movie, Sophia's holy guardian angel. And what the hell is this? Like, wait, wasn't this a boss fight in Elden Ring? Like, what is this dog crap CGI? You could have literally just made it a ray of light. You could have implied it. I mean, look at this. Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me used an angel that looks like it came from Spirit Halloween. And it still looks infinitely better than whatever this goofy CGI monstrosity is. Way to profane the sacred. Turning a devotional ascent, a path of climbing the ladder to enlightenment, into a cheap haunted house isn't just a Hollywood fail, it's kind of a spiritual war crime. I mean, imagine a filmmaker trying to do this with Islam and turning its sacred rituals into a horror movie. You can imagine what the backlash would be. It would be global and brutal and probably never-ending. And to even suggest something like that would be completely unthinkable in the movie industry. Yet when it comes to Hermeticism and the Western esoteric tradition, filmmakers are happy to just go hog wild, appropriating, distorting, trivializing, and basically mocking and deriding the entire thing. And there's no protests, there's no public outcry because the occult is a safe target. And you might think that's not a big deal, but it kind of is. And let's be real, Western esotericism is not like a huge thing. There's not that many people into it. But the people who are into it are critically important. And what movies like this do is take the sacred path of enlightenment and prayer and purification and getting people to equate all that in their mind with demonic self-harm. This is not bringing magic to the masses. It's taking a dump in the pool. If I was going to be wacky, I would say that this is like an attempt by the Archons to to slander and disenchant this entire path so that nobody dares take a look at it. This movie makes the association in the viewer's mind between the quest for God and a sleazy direct-to-video gore fest. Here's the thing. To practitioners like me, that misrepresentation isn't trivial. It's painful. We watch something sacred turned into something grotesque, and it feels like somebody trying to tear down what we've spent a lifetime building. In a genuine Abramelin operation, the ritual space would be kept pristine and holy, filled with prayer and divine names. In a dark song, the house becomes a filthy prison of blood, fear, and despair. The vibe immediately veers from reverent to horrendous. The filmmakers quite literally drag the sacred into the mud. By focusing on fear, pain, and gore, the film loses the actual meaning of the Abramelin Operation. Sophia's climactic meeting with her guardian angel, the moment that should have been profoundly transformative, is reduced to a brief, shoddy spectacle because the movie spent more time on jump scares than on philosophy or anything even resembling spiritual purification. And yes, whatever these weird gymnastics are don't count. Bottom line, the filmmakers sacrificed authenticity and sacredness for trashy indulgence. In doing so, they turned what should be an uplifting, solemn journey into something audiences perceive as purely sinister. That is profane in the literal sense, taking what is holy and making it unholy. The film industry has a long-standing shortcut for anything spooky. Throw in what at least they perceive to be the quote-unquote occult. Pentagram on the floor? Check. Ominous Latin chanting? Check. Hooded cultists in a candlelit basement? Triple check. I mean, why bother writing a nuanced villain when you can just drop in a goat skull and call it a day, right? This is nothing new, but it keeps getting worse. And consider that prior to Hollywood, nobody really had these terrible association chains in their minds. Now the whole world associates magic with demonism, and you can tell by how a lot of so-called practitioners behave online that most of their idea of what magic is was formed by horror movies. And just because the movies are supposedly getting more realistic, that doesn't mean that the situation's getting better. It just means exploitation in 4K. From Hereditary to The Conjuring to The Evil Dead, we've all seen these tropes 100 times. It's practically a running joke in horror. If you need an ultimate evil, just mumble some fake Latin and blame the occult. But when the only stories we ever tell about magic end up in fire and screams, is it any wonder at all that the public associates the occult with evil? I'm not saying that horror creators should stay away from occult themes entirely. Definitely not. I mean, I love a good Hammer horror movie as much as anyone. It's just, there's a difference here between being creative and just resorting to demonism, lazy demonism. We can do better than this. We can do a lot better than just having the lazy shorthand of occult equals demons. And A Dark Song is not subtle with this at all. I mean, at one point, Sophia straight up says that her child was murdered in an occult ritual.
My 7-year-old child was murdered by idiots doing a ritual.
I mean, thanks, guys. Thanks again for painting this stereotype. That's such a gift to people who actually practice esotericism in our current cultural climate. Thanks, guys. Constantly portraying occult practice as inherently evil isn't harmless. It warps public perception. People come to instinctively think that the occult equals dangerous equals something to fear. It's basically slander against an entire spiritual path. And sure, those tropes persist because they work. Audiences get a cheap thrill. But there's a cost. Serious practitioners and traditions get painted with that same demonic brush. And in a cultural climate where we have all kinds of dangerous, insane people self-radicalized on the internet running around, that's bad news for you and for me. Meet Joseph Solomon, alcoholic, abusive, emotionally stunted. Hollywood can't resist the trope of the deranged magician, and Solomon embodies every worn-out stereotype to the letter. But this goes way beyond personal hygiene. Solomon is, unfortunately, the representative and stand-in for the Western esoteric tradition in this film, and he's shown as a sloppy alcoholic coomer. Okay, that might not be too far off given some of these online occult practitioners, but this goes way beyond personal hygiene. He lies to Sophia, he demands unethical acts, he drinks, and eventually he loses control. Reality check. Yes, there are definitely guys like this out there. You can find a lot of them on 4chan's X board. But most real occult practitioners are regular people with day jobs, families, and a love of dusty old books. For example, Dion Fortune, a respected occultist who ran healing circles in London, promoted vegetarianism, and led a magical battle to stop Hitler. Not exactly an axe-wielding maniac. William Butler Yeats, legendary Nobel Prize-winning poet and member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, yet a perfectly functional member of society. And today's magicians? They're a lot more likely to be completely innocuous software engineers or yoga instructors.
Hey, Guilfoyle, I thought you were a Satanist.
I'm a Levian Satanist with some theistic tendencies.
Some theistic tendencies.
They're generally autistic nerds studying world spirituality, not weird serial killers holed up sacrificing goats in an attic. Even the infamous Aleister Crowley, as wild as he was, spent much of his time writing, mountaineering, and playing chess, not torturing acolytes for fun. The truth is, the dangerous loner occultist is mostly a myth, but A Dark Song doubles down on it, making Solomon a virtual public service announcement to stay away from anyone who's even once dared to shop in the mind-body-spirit section of the bookstore. By portraying occult practitioners as volatile and cruel, the film feeds the misconception that anyone who delves into magic must be unhinged or evil. It's character assassination of an entire community. So A24, so indie horror directors, I must again ask you, get the hell out of our house, unless you can treat it with respect. If all this sounds familiar, it's because we've seen this hysteria before. The 1980s Satanic Panic taught America to fear anything that wouldn't fit in on the 700 Club. People truly believed secret covens were kidnapping kids, and that playing Dungeons and Dragons could summon the devil.
Mazes and monsters is a far-out game. Swords, poison, spells.
I have spells. I'm going to fly.
You don't have enough points. I am the maze controller.
It was mass hysteria, and it was all completely debunked. Decades on, and horror films like this one are still keeping that ancient fear burning. A Dark Song delivers the same brutal warning. Dabble in magic and you'll face possession or death. It's the same shoddy old superstition repackaged for a new generation. This kind of paranoia still stigmatizes real practitioners. It's like an echo of the Satanic Panic in pop culture. A low-key reminder to the audience that occult equals danger. And it distracts from the genuine evils in the world, for instance, the literal reality of actual widespread pedophile networks. By keeping people's attention on completely imaginary ones. Instead of dealing with reality, we're chasing demons in the basement, or, more accurately, hiding our heads in the sand. Let's clear this up. Hermeticism is a path of knowledge and divine communion, basically seeking God or higher truth through esoteric practice. Satanism, on the other hand, is about venerating or invoking the adversary, the devil, whether symbolically or literally. Are they related historically? Maybe at the fringes. Are they the same thing? Not even close. The Abramelin Ritual, for instance, commands demons under the banner of divine authority. That's the polar opposite of worshiping demons. It's like a priest performing an exorcism versus someone summoning a demon to make a deal. Two very different intentions. But if all a viewer ever sees is pentagrams and screaming, all that nuance evaporates. A Dark Song doesn't distinguish Hermetic angel invocation from devil worship at all. So of course the audience won't either. And that's a huge cultural problem. Now, just to prove how lazy the writer of this movie was, let's show just how blatantly obviously easy it would be to fix the movie. And I'm not even talking about the occult details, I'm just talking about the plot. Enough hand-waving. Let's splice a soul into this corpse with exactly one scalpel cut, and watch the whole story click into place like clockwork, because the clues were hiding in plain sight all along. The fix for this movie is glaringly, blatantly obvious. Make Solomon the murderer of Sophia's son. And I don't mean kind of hint at it, I mean make it clear. Here's how. Stage 1. Seed the breadcrumbs. From the very beginning, the film begins to whisper that Joseph Solomon and Sophia's murdered son were never strangers. Clue 1. Sophia could discover another of her son's toys in the house or in Joseph's things, one that she didn't pack. Clue 2. Sophia might hear Solomon humming her child's favorite lullaby under his breath while making ritual preparations. Or Clue 3. A fleeting over-the-shoulder shot could reveal a charm bracelet in Solomon's duffel that matches the one that Sophia buried with her son. These could be very subtle chess moves, with the camera barely giving any time to them. Each clue could be completely innocuous to the viewer alone, but become unsettling in aggregate and blatantly obvious on a rewatch. Stage 2. The accident. The stabbing of Joseph Solomon towards the end of the movie could still play as a freak mishap. The blade slips, Solomon's abdomen is pierced, and he lays bleeding on the linoleum. Same as before. No additional shots, no extra dialogue. We just let the audience think, did the ritual backlash? Did Sophia snap? Stage 3. The angel's deposition. The holy guardian angel appears and clarifies everything. Solomon, who now lays dead somewhere in the house, dragged off by demons, is revealed to be the one who killed Sophia's child. Also revealed is that Solomon fell upon Sophia's knife in an act of divine judgment, triggered by her prayers for revenge and justice earlier. In that single moment, every earlier clue snaps into place. The crime is revealed, Solomon's guilt is exposed, the ritual has been a courtroom all along, and the sentence is delivered. If the filmmakers wanted to shoot more footage and extend this, they could even do Stage 4, in which Sophia now faces the real Abramelin crucible, in which she is forced by the angel to choose, forgive the killer and lift them both towards grace, or damn him and herself to unending shadow. All along, the demons circle waiting for Sophia to make a slip. That is the authentic moral endgame that the film demands. So that's it. That's literally it. Just make Solomon the child's killer, tie off that one dangling and flapping plot thread, and, leaving the ritual inaccuracies aside, this movie is instantly elevated to the level of Hitchcockian psychological thriller. Suddenly, the film evolves from a dumb series of misfired set pieces to a hermetic courtroom drama of sin, revelation, choice, and transcendence. All the stuff that great tragedy is made of. Congratulations, filmmakers. You just graduated from edgelord fanfic to an actual mythic narrative, and all it cost you was paying attention. Now, imagine if you'd started here in the first place. Well, you've just sat through a lengthy demolition of this terrible movie. Practically your own grueling occult operation of focus and determination. So now that the candles have burned out and the wax is cooling, here's what you should keep in mind going forward. 1. Hollywood does not know about anything related to the esoteric. It just doesn't. Okay, so don't take cues from it. Yes, and that by and large includes indie filmmakers from all over the world, not just Hollywood, but I'll be happily proved wrong when people create real masterpieces that draw from the occult in a respectful way. 2, when people are trying really hard to make you afraid of something, you should really take an opportunity to check in and ask why and who it benefits. 3, there's an easy antidote to this. It's the primary sources. Read the actual grimoires, study the actual rituals, check the footnotes, verify the history, and from there, decide what actually merits your attention. Now, I want to hear from you. What movie do you think really got the occult right? Or conversely, utterly butchered it? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'll pin the smartest comment. So, if this breakdown saved you from utter and terrible misconceptions that this film may have fostered, hit the like button and hit subscribe and hit the notifications bell so that you let the algorithm know that the truth still matters. And of course, please share this video with a friend. It doesn't have to be somebody that's interested in the esoteric, although that would be awesome. It could even be people who are just interested in filmmaking. And of course, if you're ready to trade movie myths for the real thing, for real magic, then Magick.me, my complete training platform in magic, meditation, and mysticism, is open now. You can get started for free with a free meditation. The link is in the description.